This session for the speech recognition in Moodle, I think is obviously very important in this day and age. Myself, I've actually just recently immigrated to a new country, and myself teaching English. So it's very interesting for us to sort of be a part of this next use in Moodle and being able to support language learners. Thank you. Over to you.
Hi, everybody. Good morning again from Seattle. And my name is Abhishek, and I represent Speeches. It's a 3-person team located in Seattle, Washington, and we have been working on this product for nearly 3 years now. This was developed by my friend Ian, who is a native of Hong Kong, and he has a hard time speaking English, but because he lives in the United States, it's really important for him to be able to speak fluently for personal and career opportunities. So because he had some poor pronunciation skills, he developed a tool for himself that would allow him to speak better. And then he decided to share the tool with a larger community of users. And because Moodle is one of the top e-learning platforms today, we decided that it will be a perfect fit for this tool so that we can get the tool in the hands of as many students as possible worldwide. So without further ado, let me start with my presentation. If you have ever tried to learn a new language, particularly try to learn how to speak a new language, it is no secret that it is quite difficult. And there are two main reasons for it. One is that when you are learning your first language, you develop some ingrained speech patterns, which make it difficult to pick up a new language. Secondly, as human beings, we are unable to hear our own mistakes. So oftentimes when we feel that we are speaking something correctly, it is not really the case. And we all have pronunciation problems which go completely undetected or which are completely inaudible to our own ears. And therefore, we definitely need some external help to rectify our problems. So for a language learner who's trying to learn how to speak a new language, the very first option is to enroll in a language learning class and go to a school or a language institution and try and learn how to speak a new language. However, there are two problems with this approach. And one is that attending a class requires you to be present in the class. And as busy professionals, often it is the case that we find it hard to schedule time to go to a class or an institution in person. And secondly, instructors are not always available. They may be available during classroom times, maybe a little bit after, but they may not be available when you have some time to practice. And therefore, some computerized automated tool is definitely desirable. So the second option for a language learner is to use some type of software that provides general purpose speech recognition technology. There are several examples of this in the market, Rosetta Stone being one of the top ones. Duolingo also has some speech recognition functionality. However, the problem with these systems is that their speech recognition system is designed to be a general purpose speech recognition system. By this, I mean that it only provides two types of feedback, like it will say, yes, you are right, or no, you are wrong. And this is good when you're right, but it becomes a problem when you're wrong because you can't figure out where are you going wrong. So students keep practicing again and again, but because they cannot figure out their mistakes, they eventually give up on the system. And the second thing is that general purpose speech recognition is designed to compensate for your accent problems. So even if you have a poor accent, the system may say that you are right, even though that is not really comprehensible to someone who's an expert in that language. So after discovering these problems in general purpose speech recognition systems, we developed our own speech recognition system designed specifically for language learners. And there are two benefits of our system. First is that it provides rich phoneme and syllable level feedback on a user's pronunciation. And it also provides a measure of how close your accent matches a native speaker's accent. So as an example, in this figure, the user is trying to say the word cheap, and our software parses that audio and presents this format to the user where they get a percentage score on their audio, and they get a breakup of their syllables and phonemes, and we visually show where the problem is in their speech. As you can see in this example, user was supposed to say cheap, but they said sip instead. So we say that your CH sound is sounding like an S and your IY is sounding like an E. So this is our way of doing speech recognition for language learners. Now, being able to do this has tremendous benefits. The first one is that you actually pinpoint the mistakes visually. So students can see that they are wrong here. As I was describing earlier in the presentation, we as human beings cannot hear our own mistakes, but if we can visualize our pronunciation mistakes, then it is much easier for us to try and improve on those areas. Next, it speeds up our learning because, we don't spend time listening to our mistakes, but we can visually see our mistakes. And lastly, if there are students who are hard of hearing, if they, for them, it's just completely impossible to try and listen to their mistakes. So if there is a system like this which shows them their mistakes, it is very beneficial to them. In fact, in our academic testing settings, we have run across students who have who have hearing problems, and they have found the system to be very useful. Okay. The core speech-based technology is really built on the modern speech recognition algorithms. So it is based on artificial neural networks. It is language agnostic. We can do any language. As of now, we are focused on General American English, but we are also working on a version for UK English, followed closely by Spanish. And it is a cloud-based service, so that has several advantages, that it can be available on any device that you like to use, whether it's your computer, your mobile phone, your laptop, any device. It works with any device. So how does it plug into Moodle? So you have your Moodle server over here, and the speeches technology is developed as a Moodle question type. So it integrates into the speeches quiz creation workflow. So just as you would add any other question to the quiz, you can add a speeches question to the quiz. And in the back end, when you record the audio, the speeches question type plugin automatically sends that audio to our backend servers in the cloud, where we evaluate the audio and return the result to the speeches question type for displaying it into Moodle. So it is a combination of a local question type for Moodle plus a backend service, which is backed by our servers worldwide. Now, here are some of the key features for the speeches question type. On the left side, you can see this image where the user is shown a string which they should read aloud. And this green button actually represents a reference audio. So if you click on that, and I'll show you in a demo, when you click on that, you can actually hear the reference audio. And then the student presses the record button and records their own audio, and the system gives them a grade. And you can add pictures, and some ancillary multimedia that would be useful for your students. The key features for the question type are as follows. It can automatically record and grade student speech. It allows you to create your own custom pronunciation material. So if you have a beginner class, you can tailor the pronunciation material for beginners. If you have a more advanced class, you can do it for your advanced students. You can do both words, sentences, and paragraphs. And I'll show you all of this in the demo. Now, one of the big problems that teachers have is they don't have access to reference audio, and it can be quite cumbersome to develop reference audio. And therefore, we provide automatic functionality to generate reference audio, which is very, very useful for teachers. Next is because we plug into the standard Moodle, because this is a standard Moodle question type, you can use all the reviewing capabilities of Moodle to drill down into student audio, give them personalized feedback, listen to their audio, and understand where your particular students need improvement. And all of this is available in Moodle, so you can access it anytime. Students can practice independently, and you can review their performance independently. Now, because Moodle is fantastic and Moodle works as an LTI provider, you can also use the question type. You can connect the question type to an LTI consumer. It works it perfectly LTI compliant, and we have tried our utmost to make it available for all popular Moodle versions. So we have full support for all Moodle versions 2.7 to all the way to 3.2. Last but not the least, the best part about this question type is that it is compliant with all web browsers and mobile devices. We have built-in Flash and HTML5 support. So the the question type plugin will automatically detect whether your browser has Flash support or HTML5 support, and then just let you use that. And because we have HTML5 support, so no app is required for Android. And I'll give you a demo for Android also. However, if you need an iPhone app or an iPod app, then you can contact us and we can develop one for you fairly easily. Okay, with this, we come to the demo. So what I'm going to do is just take a quick look at if there are any questions, and then go into the demo. Okay, Hebrew and Greek, not yet, not yet. So, but if you have those requests, please send them to me, and I will definitely uh, make make the plugin available for those languages. At least we'll try to work on making it available for those languages. Cantonese, okay, we'll try to do it for Cantonese as well. All right, I'll make a list of all these things. Okay, so on to the demo. One moment. So I'll have to just switch my screens. So can some of you confirm if you can see my screen? Just even if one of you can just type in the chat. Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So I have put the demo link right here in the course that I'm in right now, which is the speech recognition in Moodle for language learners. And this is an LTI link to our server. So if you just click on that, it'll open up this window, and then you just click on the open tool, and then you can see these sample pronunciation quizzes. So I'll go into the first one, which is a very interesting quiz about hospitality training. It is designed to train hospitality workers on speaking English. So if you go into the quiz, you shall see a prompt like this. So now you can click on the green button to hear the reference audio like this. And now you can try and speak something. Let me map. So as you can see, what it says is that you got 64%. That doesn't sound very good. You can try again and tap and click the red colored words to see where to improve. So I said, let me map, but it wanted me to say, let me give you a map. So the words that I said right, it will color them in green, but the words that I didn't pronounce or I'm mispronouncing, it will color in red. And now you can definitely listen to your own audio. So you just click the blue button. Okay, so as you can see, I only said let me map. So now I can press on these individual words to see what parts I'm doing well, what parts I'm not doing so well. So it gives you a breakdown at syllable and phoneme level. Also, it partitions your audio into just that word. So if you click on let and you click on these two buttons, they will just play your audio and the reference audio for let. So this is a really cool feature for this question type, that it automatically partitions your speech into words and allows you to drill down and see which word you are going wrong on. So this was one question type. This is one question, but this is an entire quiz on giving directions to customers. So it has a collection of 11 questions. So you can go to the next question, which is here is where our hotel is. So you can do the same thing over here. You can say, here is where our hotel is. Okay, so in this case, I got you are pretty good. My where is always a problem because my W sound is not always the best. So, but it shows that, I did fine. I've got 92% and I can move on to the next question, full grade. is awarded in this case. So the idea is that if a student can get at least 80% of the pronunciation right, then we give them the full grade allotted to this question. Otherwise, we just scale it based on the percentage that they got. So some other questions in this exercise, here's where you want to go. Also notice that you can add some additional text to each question that you would like your students to pronounce. And I'll show you in a minute how you do that. This is actually very standard Moodle rich text editor, and I'll show it to you in a second. Now, the last thing I want to show you is that you click on finish attempt. And once you do that, so what it's going to do is going to mark the ones that you didn't do in red, the ones that you got in right, it'll mark them as green, and the ones that you didn't quite get right, but you did something about it, you will get some partial mark. So as you can see, you got 64%. So this question was graded out of 1 point. So you get 0.64 for the question. So it automatically adapts to the grade that you set for your student for each question. So for example, if you have a word, you can give them a lower number of points, but if you have a sentence, you can give them higher number of points, and so on. Okay, so this is what is there for students. Now let's take a look at what teachers can do with this question type. So this is a quiz that I created. No questions have been added to this quiz just yet. So I'm going to start adding questions to it, and I'm going to add speeches questions to it. So I go here and I click add, and then I go add a new question. And then I go here, select the speeches question type, and I click add, and then I type a question name. So let's say test 51. And then now here I can specify what I would like the student to speak. So let's say, let me have a drink, please. This is what I would like the student to pronounce. And then now I have two options. Either I can record my own reference audio, or I can generate the speeches reference audio, which is really simple to do. So all you have to do is toggle between either of these two buttons and then click the blue button in the center, and then it'll automatically generate your audio for let me have a drink, please. Let's hear it out a little bit. So it is a little bit fast, but we can slow it down as well. And then you can type some text over here to give some additional instructions to the student. You can say, repeat the following sentence. And then we'll leave default mark as 1. And then we'll save changes. And then as you can see, the question has been added to this quiz. So now let's go back to the quiz and let's preview the quiz. So you can see whatever text you added, it came over here, and the audio is automatically generated. So let's hear it. And now you can try. Let me drink. So it says it doesn't sound very good. So I only said let me drink. So it only marked let me and drink as in green. The others were left in red. So let's try and speak it right. Let me have a drink, please. Okay, cool. So this time I got 90% and I can finish the attempt. So this is how teachers can create any type of custom content for their class. You have huge flexibility in being able to generate any type of content that fits your audience. Now, one other thing that I want to show you is that how you can record your own audio. And when you record your own audio, you should feel free to add your own message. So as an example, you can say something more engaging for your students. Hey students, I thought you won't be able to speak this sentence. Let's try and see if you can speak this sentence. And then the audio gets saved and you save changes. And now when you go back to the quiz, so instead of reading out loud what the sentence was, now you can hear your own reference audio as follows. Oh, looks like for some reason it didn't quite change the audio. I think I may not have saved it. Let me just take one look at it. One moment. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened over here. It was supposed to show your reference audio. Sorry, a little bit of a trouble on the demo. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is that it also works with Android devices as is without requiring any new app. So you can go here and then you can, this is the same sample training quizzes which we are seeing right now. And you can go in and let's say you go into a minimal pair exercise and you go in and you continue the attempt and you see time. So you can play it and then you can try and speak it also. So let's see time. So it's just happening because there's some lag in the emulator. Let me try one more time. Time. Okay, so I got 93% this time. So it works as is on mobile phones. All you have to do is just use your mobile phone's browser to go to the site, to go to your Moodle site, and it'll work just fine. No app required. Okay, with that, I'll go back to the presentation and let me hit pause on the screen and go back to the presentation. And let me first answer Matthew's question. And these are all single syllable words. How does it work for multi-syllable words? So yeah, if you have multiple multi-syllable words, it should work just fine. It automatically partitions the audio into multiple syllable words, no problem at all. You can play with it. You can type in some words that have multiple syllables and you'll see how it breaks it up. Mispronunciation of the phoneme. It just understands mispronunciation. So it doesn't in the UI. It does not show. What about intonation? So let me actually answer the questions one by one. So the first question is, how does it work in terms of recognizing mispronunciation of phonemes in multi-syllable words? So in multi-syllable words, it allots a score to each phoneme within the syllable, and then it aggregates scores over a syllable. Um, so that's the answer. And then Wendy is asking, what about intonation? So with regard to intonation, we do have intonation, but that is something that more sophisticated teachers ask for in general. The learners that we are dealing with right now, they generally are happy if they can just pronounce words and sentences and try and reach some level of accuracy. The other thing to understand is that intonation is um, often learned by imitation. So if the reference audio can be programmed to mimic to or if the reference audio is specified in a way that you know that makes it clear what the intonation should be, then the student automatically picks up on that and tries to mimic that. So although intonation is a very desired feature, but it is it is something that is more useful for sophisticated advanced learners. Okay. Where is speeches being used today? We have found several uses for this technology. Training and assessment for academic proficiency is our sort of our bread and butter use case. We have several universities and schools worldwide using the plugin as we speak. Students have indicated very high success rate in improving their pronunciation, and teachers have reported that overall student engagement in their courses has also increased significantly. Another very cool use case which we found was in training hospitality workers. So we work with a couple of hotels in Vietnam where they would like their workers to improve their speaking skills so that they can interact better with their customers. And those workers have found speeches in Moodle very, very useful for them. And they practice it almost for like 50, 60 hours at in a course duration, which is pretty terrific. Last but not the least, a very exciting use case we found was in training pilots for meeting their ICAO requirements. So pilots have this requirement that they have to prove that they are proficient in speaking English, particularly if they fly internationally. And to meet those requirements, they have to clear this exam every once in a while. And being able to use speeches and practice their pronunciation has been of immense value to them. Now, how can you help us improve? It would be great if you could try out our plugin. I have made the plugin available via the LTI link in the speech recognition course for iMoot, but you can also directly go to our website, www.speeches.com/Moodle, and you can sign up and try the plugin, no charge. And then we would love to hear some new features or some new languages that you would like us to add. We are trying to be quite aggressive about it and want to make it good and useful for as many people as possible. And then if you have other unique content ideas around, so as I mentioned, like we are trying to target general academic, hospitality, aviation. If there are other industries or other domains where you think this could be useful, we would love to hear your feedback on that as well. Last but not least, I already included the link on how you can try out the software. I do have a feedback link inside the iMoot course. Let me just switch my screen once more and show you where it is. It would be awesome if just some of you could take the time to give us some feedback. It's just 10 multiple choice questions, really easy to fill out. It will only take maybe 2 minutes of your time. The link is right here inside the presentation course. All right, and then with that, I come to the end of my presentation. I'll open up the deck for questions and love to hear your feedback. So let me read through the questions. There's a question by Matthew. So when you recorded your reference audio, the algorithm is not comparing the student's response to your reference, but rather something else. Yes, that is correct. So what you record is not comparable. The algorithm doesn't compare with what you record or the reference audio. The algorithm compares it against a large language learning model that has been normalized over thousands of speakers over thousands of hours, so that it can pick up any frequency, pitch, and variation in male and female voices, so that it is normalized and it can understand your speech better. Wendy has a question, what about tonal languages, example, Cantonese? So we are not quite there yet, but we hope to get there maybe later this year. We'll try to get there. Mandarin, we'll certainly add Mandarin to the list also. All right, this is great feedback. I was hoping, Matthew has another question. I was hoping it would let the teacher create a sample and then we could add language on an ad hoc basis. Create a sample and then we could add language on an ad hoc basis. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that question. Could you explain a little bit more? That is the reference audio. So you want to add some reference audio and then you want the student to mimic that audio? Is that what you're saying? Irrespective of the language? Okay, I see. So the problem with that is this, that mimicking means some kind of comparison. And the problem with comparison is that it's not just the text or the words that you speak, but it's also the pitch and frequency inherent in your speech. And for example, female speaker's voice differs significantly from a male speaker's voice. And therefore it may not be able to, it may not be possible to do like a direct comparison between the two on a speech basis. So the technology is not quite that advanced yet, but I hope that someday we can get there. We will try. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
I'm just going to jump in here and say thank you very much. I personally have found this absolutely fascinating. I'm hoping someone here, as I wrote, I've just moved to Hong Kong. I'm trying to learn a new language myself and I'm struggling. So I would absolutely love to get someone here to be able to use this and help me. So eventually maybe that will happen. And obviously the world we are in now, people having to learn so many different languages, this is just such a great help when I can see it now. I mean, I'm also teaching English here myself, so it actually is a great help. Thank you so much for all the work that you're doing, and we're really looking forward to what is going to happen in the future with your work. Thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome. And, I'm very excited to be part of the Moodle community. And thank you all for sparing the time to listen to my little presentation. It's a huge vote of confidence and, look forward to being in touch with some of you.